Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Formula Sim Series for the Championship here, so for the Champions Cup. It is round 3 for the British GP here at Silverstone. Hope you all doing well tonight. And we have got 18 minutes of qualifying and 26 laps ahead of us. The British GP, which was held back in 1950, one of the first Grand Prix, and still around to this modern day Formula 1 era, same as Belgium, Monza and Monaco. Been around since 1950, where it all began here, the first round of the British GP back in 1950. The track length is 5.8 kilometres from 2011 onwards. We had different layouts before 2010, before cops became turn 1, and now it is turn number 9, I believe it is. But yeah, nice to have you all here, and let's see then who can put out pole position with 18 minutes of qualified. So we're just waiting for the drivers then to come out of the circuit. Back in round 1 and round 2 for Mexico and Austria, I think it was Leo who won the first opening round of the season. Then it was Rudy who took the victory back in Austria with his fight with Zander, and Rudy went on to take the victory. And Zander, sadly for him, I think he dropped down the order or DNF because they both came together, didn't they? Coming down to turn 4, hopefully we don't see that, but what a classic venue this is. We'll see plenty of battling going on and plenty of DRS trades as well as we progress towards qualifying there. So we've got a few drivers out the track so far, and one of them is the Ferrari of Jerem. Then there he is, the Ferrari driver coming out of the circuit. While all this is going on around laps, I'll read you the championship. It is IFR Esports team who lead by 70 points ahead of Team Shazoo in second place. TFR, which is Talent Factory Esports, are in third place ahead of Outplayed Racing, OP Racing. FER Esports P5 ahead of NLR Esports. TTG Esports in P7 ahead of Team TF10. LFR Esports, sadly for me, I'm in the LFR Esports, are currently down in P9 ahead of QRT, who are last with 1 point, sadly, to their name. So hopefully QRT can get something on the board, as they need to make their way out of last place. They're currently 22 points behind LFR, the highest up there in P9. But IFR looking good so far, with the lead about 17 points, and they gain the maximum points in the first 2 opening rounds, thanks to Rudy winning the Grand Prix. But yeah, we've got Jem then coming towards the final few parts of the lap to start a flying lap around this 5.8 kilometre circuit. We'll take you through it then as Jem then makes his way around the final 3 corners. This is where you have to be very smooth. I thought I'll get on the throttle very early to start a flying lap then. Here we go, across the line then on the Hamilton straight as we'll make our way into turn 1 then. These 2 corners are fully flat out, 185 miles an hour, 290 miles an hour, coming down to turn 3. Let's see how it takes this one then. Climbs the speed and hits the curve on the inside. Goes a bit too wide though to try and open up the line towards turn number 4. Goes a bit too wide again. Gets on the throttle immediately coming out of turn number 4. Now into turn 5. Flat out left-hander. DRS enabled down the Wellington straight. Under the Aramco board we go as we make our way into Brooklands then. We'll see plenty of battles go on here, especially back in Sebastian Vettel on Valtteri Bottas back in 2018, where Sebastian Vettel would take on the victory. As we come out of Luffield then, nice exit there from JM as we go into Woodcut flat out corner here as the old pit straight, the old circuit layout which was used last in 2010, as we make our way into Cops then flat out left right hander. Some people lift off depending on their setup as we make our way into Magnus and Beckers then. The first 2 corners here are flat out. Oh, he goes a bit too, he advanced the curves a bit too much, and sadly for him, he has invalidated that lap time, and his teammate was right ahead of him as well to give him a lovely tow down the Hanger straight, but sadly that's not going to happen due to the invalidation. So let's see then who's closer towards the line. I think Arda Droppel Gamer in P17 there is on our lap time as he makes his way towards the Stowe corner. Into 5th gear we go, up in speed to the 6th, rise the curb on the exit as we come into the final braking zone. They've got a few cars ahead of us, hopefully they get out of the way. They are going to start their first flying laps, but not ideal for the Mercedes driver as he makes his way then around the final corner. A bit of a choice going on there as he sets the 26.3 then for the time to beat. Instantly replaced by Jack Humphries, who goes into P1 only a few hundreds quicker though with a 26.3. 07, and Shane pops himself into P4 as Rudy goes into P4. 4 drivers with a 26.3. That's now ever so close, but Rudy had a problem there going into turn 1, and Joey is in P6 with a Jed in P5 with a 26.4. The Alvatari goes into P6 with a 26.5 as Julian then pops himself into 4th place with a 26.3. Look at that, about 5 drivers are winning 26.3 at the opening stage of this qualifying session, so it's tantalisingly close between all those guys. I think we're on for a good race here. We've got Lewis then making his way towards Cops, takes it nice and flat, but you can see their back end just stepping out just a little bit at the exit of that corner, coming into Magnussen Beckers now, but his teammate did invalidate as Denurko goes quickest by 26.7, 3/10 quicker than the whole field then, so he's comfortably in first place. As there you can see Lewis getting a nice turn in the back of Jerem, as second place goes FA by in P2. There we go then, coming out of Stowe as we make our way into the final braking zone then for Lewis, the slow speed corners, which I think can be very smooth with the throttle here. And let's see what lap time he can set in that Ferrari. It's going to be a 26.6, and he pops himself into P11. And Jerry has backed off there. We've got Firefox making his way towards the first 2 corners. I think he's just completed a lap time with a 26.9, but his last place started for him. His teammate, however, is on a lap time as he makes his way into the final braking zone. Then let's see what lap time he's got on the board. He was another driver in contention for a podium in the Austrian Grand Prix, but those penalties kicked in on the last lap as he tried to take on 2 drivers into turn 4, but sadly picked himself up his last warning, which inevitably was his penalty. But CC Brain has invalidated his lap time. It was a 26.5, but sadly for him that won't count. And here comes Kart Racer. He pops himself up into P10 with a 26.5, 2,000 slower than Marco does in P9 then. So there's the first lap times on the board for the session for you. That is Denurko quickest by 2/10 ahead of Abai in P2, Jack Humphries in P3 in the Aston Martin with on the drop of Gamer in P4, Marcador's P5 with Rudy in P6, Julian, both Red Bulls there occupying the 4th row ahead of Legend in P9. Both McLarens had a good race back in Austria. I think one of them went, I think it was Rudy who took the victory there, but I think his teammate had problems before earlier on in the race. He's qualified. He started P9 last time out in Austria. He made his way up the field to claim, well, he was up there in the top 3, but sadly came into contact with one of the drivers, Kart Racer out there, but I don't think he's on a flying lap. Looks like he's on a push lap back to the pit lane as he is running out of fuel. So 2 drivers there, JM and CC Braid, who have not set a lap time. There is CC Braid, but sadly for him, he has invalidated his second run, so he's not going to go for it on this occasion. So dive back in the pit lane and put on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. Marcadors is out there. He's currently run out of fuel, so it'll be quite a long journey back to the pit lane from there. But we've got Jack Humphries then on an out lap with the Mercedes of Honourable Gamer in P4. Where is he? Coming towards Luffield. So we're going to go on board with him then as he's about to start his second flying lap on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. Pit lane is very long around here, so the strategy is soft to medium or mediums to softs. And if you're someone like OP Firefox down in P11, the alternate strategy can pay off for you down there. But you can see that on the drop of Gamer in P4, on the Paul Gamer, sorry, in P4, you can see him just burning that extra fuel. You can see him revving out 5th gear there as he applied the brakes as well to help him run that fuel down. So his first lap time is a 26.3. We're getting close towards the 25s. Denurko up there, his teammate in P1. Looking very handy indeed for the TF10 driver. But we're about to see what his teammate Paul Gamer could do in P4. See, it gets the extra bit of temperature in the tyres as he makes his way towards the final 3 corners then. Let's see what lap time he can set. Here comes then out the final 2 corners we go into 5th gear, now 6th gear, takes a very wide line as we make our way towards the line, start flying lap then down the Hamilton pit straight as we make our way into turn 1, takes a lot of the curb there, and coming through turn 2 as well, takes it very nicely, flat out 2 corners. Turn 3 then, braking zone, kissing the apex on the entry up to 4th immediately, then bring it back over to the left hand side, kissing the apex on the entry here, goes down to 1st gear momentarily, give it a wheel spin on the exit as we make our way into turn 5, flat out left hander there, very easy as we make our way onto Wellington Straight, going down into turn 6 at Brooklyn, where we see a lot of side-by-side action here. You can see that takes a very nice entry there, gets on the throttle immediately, car looks very hooked up. Don't drift out wide 2 here as we make our way out of Luffield, very nicely there, used all the curb on the left hand side, coming into Woodcut, nice and easy there for Arnold Gamer as we make our way into Cops. Let's see how he approaches this. Some people like to lift off slightly, a little lift off, but mostly flat out through there as we make our way into Magnussen Beckers, then flat out through the first parts of Magnussen Beckers to progressively get slower. A little dab on the brakes there, and you can see they ran the curb, try not to mount it too much, and go into the middle sector with a 2.5. He's 2/10 up almost on our time. He needs to beat his teammate. And let's see as we make our way into Stowe. Can he gain any more time in this final part of the lap? Good exit there from Untitled Gamer as we make our way into the final few corners. He did encounter a bit of traffic, so might gain a bit of time as there's no traffic ahead of him, affected him with that dirty air. Here comes that on the final corner. What lap time is this going to be? It's a 26.0, getting so tantalisingly close towards the 25s. And he's a few hundreds quicker than his teammate Denerko, who's on a lap time by a few hundreds down in the first sector. And who else is out there? Jack Humphries, is back in the pit lane. He ran into that lap time, so unfortunately he will not improve on that occasion. As we've got Julian coming towards Maggins and Beckett. Let's see what his middle sector's like. He's a 10th up, and let's see, this 10th could put him into P4 if he can find more time in this final sector. But Rudy has gone up into P3 then, ahead of FEA by in P4 as we make our way into the final three corners. And last braking zone into third gear, kisses the apex on the entry, gets a nice run into as the last corner, and let's see what lap time he can set. Is this going to be quicker? Oh, it's a 26.0. That is so close. Look at that. 4 drivers. Look at Denerko and Rudy set the exact same lap time, but Denerko did it first. As Denerko takes pole position then with a 25.8, smashes the competition there. The first drivers to get inside the 25s. Can anybody get close to it? I wonder. We've got a few more people that cross the line. Looks like Shane has backed out of his lap time. He was a 10th down in the middle sector and decided he'll go back in the pit lane. But yeah, is anybody out there to try and beat Denerko? The 2 Mercedes who are currently in P1 and P2. We've got Legend on a lap time. There's his teammate giving him not much of a slipstream, but it'll do. And this is a 10th up, or almost 2/10 up in the middle sector. I'm sure Legend would love a lovely slipstream down this Hanger straight, but sadly couldn't quite get it as Rudy was too, I think it was a bit too early. Not expecting Legend as quickly as he did, or not setting up right. But here we go then for Legend. Let's see what he does in these final few parts. You can see him there just hesitant as he goes P5. I think he lost a bit of time in those final 3 corners. You can see him moving the steering around quite a bit just to try to adjust it. But yeah, I think there's definitely more lap time in the bag for Legend in P5 to try and improve on. Oh, Markados has gone for a spin. That is the exit of Cops. Yeah, it is Cops. And I've seen a few people spin there before then, so I wonder how he approached it. Did he turn it too late? Did he... I remember a lot of people spinning there in the past, but it doesn't seem to be an issue anymore in these modern day F1 games. But unfortunately for him, he has spun. So I think he's done 2 laps on those tyres as well, has Markados. So I dare say he'll go back in the pit lane and put on his last brand new set of the soft compound tyres. CC Brain has gone P5 in the AlphaTauri, and Markados does head back in the pit lane to put on that last set of soft compound tyres. And it's a shame what could he have done if he did make that mistake. OP Reiki has back tyres, not going for a lap time. Can't race it down to P50. What's he doing? Coming towards the first 2 corners. So JM, Joey, OP Fire and Batexai in P19 then. Look at the gaps, not too far away. P2 to P19 is about half a second. That's how close it is between these top tier drivers. It's very close indeed. So the 2 Mercedes are looking more amazing up there. P1 and P2. Can Untitled Gamer in P2 find a little bit more time, try and extend that advantage towards Rudy? We've got a McLaren coming out of the pit lane, so let's see if it is one of those 2 McLarens. Kart racer, they will go on board with him as he makes his way towards Cops. Has a significant lift off through there. He was 4/10 up in the first sector, it looked like, but yeah, he's backed out of it. Must have made a mistake somewhere on the course of this 5.8 kilometer track, so that's a shame for Kart Racer. And he can't go for it again on the same set because he's run out of fuel, so he'll have to dive back in the pit lane and put on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in this session then. Not a lot of time for these drivers. We're coming towards the closing stages of qualifying, but we've got a McLaren driver out of the pit lane, which is Rudy, the man who took victory last time in Austria. Very consistent with no penalties. I remember the first 2 races, Mexico and Austria, he picked up no penalties. That's what led him to go on the podium in Mexico, and he took that race win in Austria. With a fantastic fight with Zander, but Zander is not here tonight. It's Denerko who's filling the shoes of Zander. But he's done a fantastic job as well, Danerko, with a 25.8, one of the quickest times I've seen so far. And there's 3 minutes left to go in qualifying. Looks like Rudy came out very early in comparison to other people. It looks like it's a case of fueling the car for one lap, for more than one lap, just in case he makes a mistake on his last flying lap out of the 2. He's always got that second lap to go for with the extra spare time. Looks like other people might go for the one up there. In these closing stages of qualifying, the pressure intensifies as Rudy then makes his way towards the final 3 corners. Let's see if he can improve on a 26.0, a few hundreds away from Audible Gamer in P2. But here we go then, coming to the final corner, Rudy's second to last flying lap as it makes its way towards turn 1. Flat out 2 corners, very easy. A lot of people do invalidate into turn 1. But takes it very nicely, so make our way into turn 3. This can be another tricky corner, especially when you come out the pit lane here on colder tyres. A lot of people tend to be a bit too greedy in the exit of the pit lane, including myself, and spin there because tyres are not properly warmed up and or the rear tyres break as you try to do the undercut on the guys ahead of you. Just push a bit too hard. As we make our way into Brooklands, down into 3rd gear, kissing the apex, coming into Luffield. Expect to see people go side by side through here. Nice exit there for Rudy as we make our way into Woodcut. Now coming into Cops, where we saw that crash between Romain Grosjean and Carlos Sainz back in 2018. I was just watching that race earlier on. Goes flat out. Did he go a little bit too wide? I'm not quite sure, but I didn't take too much of the curb on the entry towards Cops. As we make our way into Magazine Beck, instead another easy place where to make a mistake, carrying the speed. Nice exit there for Rudy, and there he is then. His McLaren teammate giving a lovely tow. He's a 10th up in the middle sector, is Rudy, and might be a bit more up thanks to that slipstream from his lovely teammate Legend in P6. But Rudy then, can he get himself to the 25s? I think he does if he hooks his last 3 corners up. The tyres are very hot through this stage of the part of the qualifying as we make our way into the final corner. What's this lap time going to be? It's a 25.8 and he's 400 slower than Danerko. So I think that's his last flying lap and he'll settle for P2. His McLaren teammate is going to go for a lap time as he makes his way towards the first 2 corners, but we've got other people elsewhere on the track I want to keep an eye on. We've got Victor, who's a 10th up in the first sector. Who's that car ahead of him? I think that is J-Up, who's getting out of the way very nicely, making his way into Cops. As you can see there, he's fueled the car for 1 lap. Has Victor, in fact it says he's done 1 lap already on these set of tyres, so indicating he must have made a mistake or invalidated on his first lap. Let's go for his last flying lap on these set of tyres. Let's see what his middle sector's like. It is a few hundreds up. There's a few cars in the way, but they get out of the way immediately on this straight. As all the cars then, majority of them on their final flying laps. This is going to be very interesting to see. Can Audible Gamer dethrone his teammate? Can Danerko go quicker? As Victor is making his way towards the final few corners there, clouting the curb on entry. As we make our way towards the final corner, let's see what this lap time is. It's a 26.2 and he puts himself inside the top 10. Jack Humphries then coming towards Luffield, sorry, but I want to keep an eye on the main guys. Just keeping an eye on McLaren driver of Legend. That is Legend. He's currently a few hundreds up in the middle sector. I think he lost most of his time in the final sector, so I think he can gain it from here on in. And let's see where he can go then. It was a bit untidy coming towards the last few corners. And there we go, much better this time around. Let's see what this lap time is. It's a 25.9 and it's 3rd place for him. What a lap time. But Audible Gamer is 10 down in the middle sector. Look, can he find that time back? It'll be very unlikely. Like, it was a very fast lap first time around. I don't think there's enough. No, there's not enough time. And it cost the line, it's a 26.1. So sadly for him, he did not improve. Jack Humphries, where is he? What's he doing? He's coming towards the final few corners now. Let's see what lap time he can set. It's going to be P6 for him with a 26.1. But where's Danerko? Can he go quicker? No, he can't because he's violated his lap time. And that's him on pole position. See, Bray looks like he had a moment coming out the final 2 corners. And that might delay his progress just a bit. But goes P7 in the AlphaTauri. Is anybody out there to try and stop Danerko from taking pole position? We've got a Haas coming around the final corner. He goes in P10. That was Victor. That was his teammate, sorry. And for Bai goes into P6 with a 26.0. Shane, what's he doing on his lap time? He's currently invalidated that lap. J-Up in P17 coming towards the line. What's it going to be? P40 with a 26.3 then. So that's a shame for LF4 right there. But OP Firefox has just crossed him the line to go up to elite P7 for him. But I believe that is qualifying over, and all the drivers then have set their final flying laps, and Victor has been currently pushed outside the top 10 thanks to OP Firefox. So Dinerco takes pole with a 25.8. Both McLarens looking really strong indeed. They're leading the constructors team championship. It's looking very strong. Good lineup from Rudy and Lejeune, working very nicely together, giving each other the toe. Dinerco and Audible Gamer looking very strong in P1 and P4, so we're in for an interesting race between the two McLarens and the two Mercedes then, ahead of this 26 lap race. What an interesting qualifying that was. Rudy about 500s away, half a tenth slower than Dinerco in P2. Lejeune hooked it up in that final 3 corners. He made a mistake last time round, but this time round got himself into a P3. Audible Gamer in P4, Julian in P5, FA by in P6 ahead of Firefox. Jack Humphries in P8. We only set him saw that 1 lap time. Jack Humphries, he looks like he had a bit of a mistake in the into the last few laps he had. Seabrain in P9, a kart racer, rounds it out in the top 10. His teammate though will start on a brand new set of medium compound tyres, and he'll be the leader of the alternate strategy. Of course I forget, it doesn't matter because we start a brand new session, don't we, and it doesn't matter if you're outside the top 10 on an alternate strategy because every single driver starts on a brand new set, so I've got to keep bearing that in mind before I keep making mistakes. But yeah, every single driver will get a brand new set of tyres. What will the guys at the top, I think they put on the soft compound tyres, would they afford to go on the mediums because they're going to get swallowed by the field further behind? Do they have the pace of the mediums? Tyre life will not be an issue around this British GP. It's an easy one stop. Can go to the end on the hards if you want to, but that's not the fastest way to go. Week in, week out, the Aston Martin camera angles come back. Yes, I know, mate. I've been talking about it a long time. I can't sort the Aston Martin camera angles out. I've had problems with the Aston Martin camera angles. I just can't seem to sort it out. I know it's an issue, but I'll try and get it fixed. That's why I don't drive the Aston Martin cars, because of the camera angles. I try and avoid Aston Martin as much as I can. If anybody in the comments let me know how to fix the Aston Martin camera angles, I'll be highly appreciated. I've tried that already, Tom. I tend not to mess around with the camera angles because if I fiddle around with them too much, I'll definitely lose them. But yeah, I've tried that before. It just doesn't work. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the Aston Martin camera angles. Hello everyone in the chat, I hope you're all doing well. Tom, Robin, Ferenc. We'll talk about the championship standings then while we're waiting in this lobby. So, IFR Esports team, I have a healthy lead of 70 points ahead of Team Shazoo in P2. Talent Factory Esports, TFR, are in P3, TFE, sorry, and Outplayed Racing, P4, OP, ahead of FER Esports. NLR Esports in P6 ahead of TTG. Team TF10 in P8 ahead of LFR, and QRT, unfortunately, in last place, with 1 point to their name. Apologies about the black box on the left hand side there, but we're going to go racing in about a few minutes time. We had the first race 2 weeks ago back at Mexico. Then it was the Austrian Grand Prix where Rudy won. I think TF Leo won the Grand Prix in Mexico. And then we are here at the British GP. Who will win this British GP? Both McLarens and both Mercedes occupying the first and second row. Both McLarens are looking really, really strong at the moment. Can Lejeune come back from his race in Austria where he made contact? Unfortunately for him, I think he went side by side with one of the drivers and didn't go well, but can he come back from that race and try to take a podium or victory here tonight? After this one, we move towards the USA in round 4, then the Bahrain, China, Azerbaijan and Portugal would be the last race of the season. And it is raining for the race then, so complete turnaround for what we had in qualifying. The wet setups will be applied for this race, I'm sure of it. Will it be the inters or full wet tyres? The full wet tyres can dissipate some of the water off the track. Will it be a full wet race? DRS will be definitely disabled for the time being, but yeah, let's see who's got the best wet skills then. Here in Britain, classic Britain tends to rain quite a lot here. If you know, you know, you live in the UK. Can be very, very difficult to overtake as well, especially in the corners where it just can't get a good launch coming out of the corners. Straight line speed as well. Very easy to save fuel and EOS in the wet conditions, no matter what track it is. It's going to be a very interesting first lap of the race, I can tell you that one, with people squabbling for positions. First lap will probably create a lot of opportunities for the drivers to try and overtake. Where the rest of the race they'll have to set into a rhythm. Hopefully they'll become drier later so we can see some plenty of action. But in about 10 seconds time we'll see what tyres they're going for. Is it inters or is it wets? Looks like in the garages you can see the Mercedes pit crew of Tedesco. It has the green tyre wall of inters. Might be inter conditions. I think it is. Let's have a look, shall we, as we get the graphics on. It is full wet tyres there for the drivers. Let's see how they handle the start of the race. Traction will be an issue. They'll have to be really careful, they'll be tentative on the throttle when they come towards the grid once more. Will anybody suffer with a lot of wheel spin off the line? It's going to be a difficult race, especially when you're in the midfield there. It's very hard to make up positions, of course, unless you've got the full wet pace and very confident in the wet conditions. I think these wet tyres could go the full distance of a Grand Prix, I don't think a one stop is necessary, because I think the tyres can go towards the end if I'm correct. I'm not quite sure if that's the inters or the wets, but will we see a changeover in the race? Looks like we won't, because it's full wet and the track doesn't dry up easily either, so I think it's full wet conditions and all the drivers have to deal with it, unfortunately for them. I'd rather have a wet qualifying session and then a wet race. Wet qualifying session can mix things up and change the order a little bit than have a dry race. But yeah, 26 laps around here. It could be a very interesting one. So the drivers, they get the tyres warmed up, ready for the start of this race. It's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers will manage it in these wet conditions. Will we see any collisions into the first lap? I wonder when they take turn 1 and turn 2 and all the way down towards the end of the first sector when they sort themselves out, squabbling over positions. But this is going to set out to be an amazing, interesting race, it must be said. Anybody get caught out in these wet conditions? Heard that Joe is quite handy in the wet, but look where he started, down in P18, as LRB has pointed out. He already paid for the rain, so he can pay for the stewards too, says LRB, but all the drivers are making their way towards the grid. Let's see what happens in this 26 lap race. course, if it does get dry towards near the end of the race, the tyre compounds, more than one tyre compound rule will be emulated, as if we had a wet start. So we might see, I don't know if we'll see any dry tyres in this race, judging by the weather. Hopefully it can clear itself up, or will it be a full wet race? But here we go then. Let's see what happens at the start of the race. Will there be any collisions as the lights then start to form as we get ready for the race? 5 lights are out, and drive-through penalty for Victor already, but it looks like Rudy's got a decent start, a decent launch from the McLaren driver, and he takes the lead of this race immediately before turn number 1 as Julian gets past the McLaren driver. He goes up into P4, 3 ahead of Legend, but the RP driver then making his way down the inside of Audible Gamer. Audible Gamer has lost ball position as they all slide themselves around in the first sector. You can see Firefox clipping the back of the RP there as Jack Humphries got himself up into P8. In fact, they go side by side now. Kart Racer versus Jack Humphries. You can see the AlphaTauri in the background sliding all over the show as we go side by side then on board with the back of the rear wing of Firefox. Jack Humphries does brake later, but Kart Racer sticking around the outside, which converts into the inside. You can see Audible Gamer under threat there from the Alpine, as you can see further ahead. And they go side by side coming out the corner, but Audible Gamer stays ahead of the Alpine. And it looks like Jack Humphries has lost the position as a Kart Racer, so Kart Racer did go back down the inside of Jack Humphries, and he stays ahead for the time being then. So Rudy got a really good launch off the line, allowed him to get past Danerka before turn 1, and he leads the Grand Prix. Good start from Julian in P3 as we've got more drivers exchanging positions. That is Sebrain overtaking Victor, and Victor has got a drive-through penalty. Shane, and some collisions there between 3 drivers who go off the track. That's Joey, OP Reiki and Shane coming together at Maggots and Beckett. So those 3 drivers, it looks like they've a bit of front wing flying around the place as well, so that's definitely a pit stop for one of those drivers. But here comes Legend then, has the confidence to go down the inside of Julian, outbreaks himself, but does he make it back on the track? Yes he does. No he doesn't. Here comes Julian then with the switchback as they go side by side. Julian backs out of it. I don't think he has the confidence to go side by side through there, especially in the rain, and Legend then stays ahead. So McLaren first and third, as we've got a few pit stops, as we can see 4 drivers are in the pit lane. Look at Jack Humphries carrying more speed into turn 1 and in turn 2 as we make our way into turn 3. Down the inside he goes into turn number 3 there, squeezes Firefox out, and they both go slightly off the track, and here comes CC Brain. They're taking advantage of that. Lewis going around the outside of OP Fox, and here comes Sebrain there going around the outside. You can see it there. Can he get? He goes off the track. He might pick up a warning for that one, I'm afraid. Might not be an illegal overtake. But they go side by side as we come into Brooklands. It looks like he has the advantage around the outside, which converts into the inside line. Sebrain has this one covered, and down the inside he goes and it stays into P10. So OP Firefox has lost a bit of positions there due to squabbling with Jack Humphries. But you can see the 1 second gap already between Audible Gamer and Julian. He's oversteered off the track, and there goes the RP driver then. He makes his way past Audible Gamer and he goes up into P4. No, he goes back around the outside, and what a move there that was from Audible Gamer, despite making the mistake coming out of cops, still regaining position ahead of the RP driver who's under threat from Kart Race. Oh, he spun and he's hit the wall, he's lost his front wing. Audible Gamer unfortunately has crashed, and sadly for him he drops all the way down. But there was a fight between Danerka and Rudy, and the virtual safety car has came out to neutralise the race. So Audible Gamer they can go in the pit lane and get a brand new nose on the front of on that Mercedes. It's going to be a 4 race, says Luca, but that's a shame there for Audible Gamer. His teammate though down in P2 looks like he's got to got a lot of hard work on his hands, because Legend actually got past Julian, so Legend is up into P3 ahead of Julian. Both McLarens can start working with each other as well. But the virtual safety car has came out to neutralise the race. We get racing once again. But yeah, when Audible Gamer crashed, it looks like Danerka was fighting Rudy for P1, and Rudy was able to get back around the outside of Danerka, who stayed ahead for the time being, and the virtual safety car came out to neutralise things. I think Legend, somewhere on that lap, he overtook Julian, and he managed to reclaim where he started in P3. It's a massive shame though for Audible Gamer down in P17, but the virtual safety car, this is a very long virtual safety car indeed, as I think it will end in a few seconds time. Hopefully it will end around about now. Or audible game against a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limit, so I wonder if he crossed the white line coming out of the pit lane. But this virtual safety car has finally ended then, so we can get racing once again. Ended perfect timing for Rudy there, coming out of cops as he makes his way into Magnussen Beckenstall. The top four: Rudy, Dinoco, Lejeune and Julian. Dinoco, I think he tried it the last time out. He's got more straight line speed than the McLaren driver in P1. As they make our way onto the Wellington Straight, both using the ERS of course to try and stay ahead of, or get ahead of each other as we make our way into Stowe. As OP Firefox is right, oh look at that from Dinoco there. OP Firefox was right behind Lewis as we make our way into Stowe, but Lewis stays ahead for the time being. Yet again, I do apologise for the black box being there. I'll probably turn up my notifications before it starts happening again, but yeah, you can see OP Firefox there. Lewis really struggling. I think a lot of drivers are struggling. As you can see, both Williams there, P12, P11 and P12 getting really close to each other. SC's got more corner speed than each other, because we saw Jack Humphries more corner speed than OP Firefox into turn 1 and turn 2. JM down the inside of a marker does. Did he make contact there with the Williams driver? Not quite sure, but he's going around the outside. Into turn 4 we go. And for the time being, Marcados stays ahead of the Ferrari driver as they all make their way onto the straight now, sliding quite a lot. But this is just about between P1 and P2. Can Rudy stay out there? North has set the fastest lap of the race with a 41 1 minute 43 point. There gets closer as OP Raikkonen sets a lap time of 1:43.7. As Harm and JM exchanging positions for P12. There we go then. It looks like Marcados got past his teammates somewhere coming into that lap, but it looks like he's going wide, and there comes JM then down the inside on the Williams driver and gets past him. So has Harm sustained any forward damage? Looks like he understeered off the track into cops. Well, that's just him struggling of course, but the gap between the first and second is going down even more, and Dinoco has without a straight to try and rotate Rudy for P1. Unfortunately, the guys below can't do anything about it, being stuck in that slipstream. And looks like the LP driver has closed the gap, because it was 1 second a few laps before. He managed to close it down to 7/10. So the top 6 are all close together as Rudy sets the fastest lap of this race then, as Kart Racer then sets the fastest lap of the race with a 40.2. Looks like Kart Racer's got some confidence in that Haas there to try and make up some positions, but being stuck in P6 behind this train of cars, quite difficult to make the way past. But we got an Aston Martin who has crashed at the exit of Magnussen Beckett, and that is a full-blown safety car, which will bunch the field up once Rudy comes towards the line. The safety car has been deployed, and he's done the same thing. He's crashed on the outside of the track like Sergio Perez did back in the 2021 sprint race. I don't think Perez crashed. I think he spun there but not crashed into the wall. But looks like all the TTG drivers unfortunately lost it through there, and into the out of the race he goes. OP Raikkonen has pitted in the Alfa Romeo. I don't think nobody will pit, especially these guys. Don't want to lose track position at all. I think it's an easy non-stop from here to the end of the race. But once the Rudy catches up towards the safety car, the whole field will be bunched up. It is a full wet race as well. No dry compound tyres will be used in this race. I'm pretty sure lots of people will prefer if it was dry, because if you're in positions like 5th and 6th, it'll be much difficult to try and overtake those guys ahead, especially when the slipstream of each other, just can't do anything about it. I think someone said in the comments that it was a full dry race now, unless I'm seeing things of course, but it's going to be a full, yeah, Luca says it's going to be a full wet race, so we've got no dry conditions unfortunately, just a classic British day with the wet weather playing in as always. When was the last time we had a wet British GP? I actually can't remember, was it 2015? No, it was dry to begin with, then it was raining later on. We ever had a full wet race? 2016 was a wet race I think, with Rosberg's gearbox issues and Verstappen all over the back of him. I'm pretty sure Rosberg got a penalty as well, that 10-second time penalty for that communication on the radio, because I remember radio communication was very strict back in 2016. and he got a penalty for trying to change the settings, and Verstappen came in P2. Xander says we're going to pit lap 12. Is that onto the intermediate tyres? 2008. I can't remember. I can't believe I forgot that one. Yeah, 2008 was the last time we had a wet GP. Heikki Kovalainen took pole position, and Lewis Hamilton had a blistering start off the line. Into turn 1, he was side by side with Kovalainen, but Heikki. Oh, CC Braid has spun. I wonder why he's dropping positions. That's not because of the pit lane. That's because he followed spun. That's a massive shame. He's inside that top 10, and unfortunately he's dropped down into P15. Yeah, but 2008, I think Lewis Hamilton, I think one of the Hondas got the podium. Was it Barrichello? I think Nick Heidfeld finished second place, and one of the Hondas got the podium, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Barrichello or Jenson Button? But what a race that was. I think Lewis Hamilton almost lapped the whole field at one point. Heikki Kovalainen's first win came in Hungary, didn't it? When I think Massa had that engine failure and Lewis Hamilton had a puncture, if I'm not mistaken. Kovalainen got his first win in Hungary, but not at the British GP. I think you're right. 2008 was probably 2016. I think it was a wet start, but CC Bray then is in the pit lane. So what if he made contact with the wall and broke his end plate? It's a massive shame for him there as he heads back in the pit lane for another set of the wet compound tyres. From memory, what's one of your favourite British GPs? The ones I remember was the 2018 one with Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas, when Vettel went down the inside of Valtteri there. Lewis Hamilton got spun by Raikkonen at turn 3, I think, and Raikkonen ended up taking a 10-second time penalty. Hamilton finished in P2. I think Xander is telling his drivers to pit in the comment section, it seems. I think the intermediates might come into play, we never know. It looks like the rain is not easing off too much. Your favourite British GP was last year, LLB. I think we all know why. Shazoo Tom says 2017 with late punches. I remember that one. 2015 with both Williams versus both Mercedes. I remember both Williams had a lovely launch off the line. They beat both Mercedes, but yeah, it was always going to be Mercedes because they had the pace. They were just dominant that year. And the rain came later, and Vettel took the podium. Bottas and Massa finished, I think they finished 6th and 7th. Williams has got a lot of, looks like somebody else has gone for a spin. That is Marquez. What's with it? We're going for spins on the safety car, but Marquez, second driver who was spun under that safety car, and unfortunately will join OP Raikkonen at the back. And the safety car is in this lap then, so let's see how Rudy judges this one. When they go at the final two corners where it's very hard to apply the throttle very early because of the traction. Let's see how he judges this one. He gets the extra bit of temperature in the tyres as he makes his way towards the final three corners. And let's see, can he get his second win of the season? His run of podiums have been very consistent this year, or this year, has Rudy. As he makes his way towards the line then, off he goes then, and let's see if Dinoco has got a good restart. Yes, he has. He's right behind Rudy, so he hasn't been caught napping at the safety car restart. Oh, he hits the back of him, has Dinoco, but thankfully I don't think he's damaged his front wing, but he's allowed. Leger gets a good run as we make our way into turn 3, and he stays behind for the time being as he goes down the inside into turn number 4 as they barge wheels then. We come side by side coming out turn 4. Now it's turn 5. Let's see who's brave on the throttle as Dinoco stays around the outside, gets pushed off the track slightly as they both use the ERS then as we make our way down into Luffield. It looks like Denoka, but look at Julian going down the inside as well. As I think Legend has won that battle as a McLaren 1-2, as Denoka desperately trying to stay ahead of Julian, and he's done so for the time being. Look at that Haas there going side by side with the Alpine. Kart Racer is alongside the Alpine driver now, both using that ERS of course, but one of them's got to back out, which is Kart Racer, as we make our way into Cops. But what a restart there for Rooney. His teammate follows in P2 with Denoka sadly in P3 for him, but it's a good move from Legend going down the inside. It's a difficult corner going side by side through turn 4 and turn 5, especially in the rain there, but they managed to make their way through it. Denoka was under pressure from Julian, but Denoka stayed ahead for the time being. Can the two McLarens work with each other now to try and stay ahead of Denoka? Under a bit of pressure now is Denoka. Oh, he almost lost it coming out of snow. Massive wheel spin on the exit there, but Audible Gamer has got past Marcados for P17. As we head on to lap 9 out of 26 there, we've got Rudy leading ahead of Legend, Denoka in P3, followed by Julian in P4, Fabai in P6, P5 ahead of Kart Racer in P6. We've got Jack Humphries P7 in that lovely Aston Martin camera angle. I know a lot of you talked about it and I can't do anything about it unfortunately. And look at that then. They're all taking different lines to see if you can get a better exit than each other. Look at that, we've got a bit of contact between Shane and Joey going side by side, and Joey going around the outside of Shane. Now JM's in the battle between those two, and JM side by side there with the Red Bull as they're both slipstream down into Brooklyn as we go. And you can see late on the brakes with Shane. Has he made the corner? Yes he has. You can see Victor go wide in the background there, and Shane stays ahead for the time being. And Joey is up into P10. He's got 2.1 seconds to make up on Firefox ahead of him. He's called. He took pole position in a race in Brazil before the wet conditions. He lost the wet conditions, but is he in a position to try and close in and try and take a few points away? Look at the handful of understeer he got there coming into Cops. Massive understeer for him. He's currently in the top 10 so far. Started down in P18 and currently in P10. He too got himself in a bit of a contact between a few drivers in Magnus and Beckett's. A goal ball back on Denoka then. He's right behind both McLaren drivers but in a really bad position because it's so difficult to overtake. But Nuth has got past JO for P12. There he goes then. Audible Gamer has got himself ahead of OP Reiki. He moves himself up into P16. If you're not with us early in the race, unfortunately Audible Gamer did lose at the exit of Magnus and Beckett on a straight and crashed out, lost his wing, had to pit. But the safety car has bunched this field up again as Jack Humphries picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. One of the two drivers to pick up a penalty so far in this race. You can see them taking multiple lines going into the first 4 corners. It'll be very difficult for Denoka to get a good run on these McLaren drivers ahead. As CC Brain is fighting with Audible Gamer. Audible Gamer defends or tries to overtake CC Brain, but he stays ahead for the time being, ahead of the Mercedes driver, trying to make his way back through the field. Going into Luffield we go. We've got Joey fighting back with Shane. Bit of contact made between those two yet again. Banging wheels, but Kart Racer is right at the back of Fabai, but he's too far away to make a move into Cops. Shane, however, is close to Joey, but Joey can't seem to pull down his 2-second gap as he's currently under pressure from Shane. Joey's progress is being delayed by the Red Bull behind him. Let's see if they can work together to try and get themselves back in the top 10. But Denoka is right behind Legend. Legend looks like he had a bad exit himself coming out of Magnus and Beckett. There we go, they're both using the ERS then. And let's see if Denoka can swing around the outside on the McLaren driver. Let's see if he can do it. No, he can't. Legend has the corner for the time being. Can Denoka get a better exit than him and try and make his way down into Vale? We go. It's the last 3 corners we go. Will Legend outbreak himself? He will, but he makes the corner for the time being. Can Denoka do a switchback on him? No, he can't. And Legend stays in P2 for the time being. You can see Denoka used a lot of ERS there to try and overtake the McLaren driver, but sadly for him, it's not working out on this occasion. Look at the Shane right behind Joey. They go side by side in the we're side by side on the straight. Look like Joey had a moment coming out on the final corner, unless Shane's got more corner speed, of course. Denoka goes down the inside. Oh, make contact there, and Legend tried to do. Well, Legend actually went down the inside of Denoka that last time out, but Denoka this time went down the inside. Should Legend give a bit more space. He was expecting him to do that, but look going side by side is Shane and Joey. And Joey went off the track there. He oversteered off the track as we make our way into Brooklands now. Shane has the inside line, but Joey will have the inside line later on in the corner. And Shane stays ahead for the time being, and currently under pressure from North right behind, as Victor's defending from Audible Gamer, who's got himself past CC Brain. Wobbly exit coming out of there is Audible Gamer thinking about a move on the hash drive, and no, he's not too far behind to make any sort of move into cops. Definitely got more speed and pace than him, but Victor unfortunately picks up another penalty, as CC Brain picks up a penalty as well. And he's under pressure from Marcados right behind him. The Audible Gamer there put a lot of pressure on Victor ahead of him. It was just a mirrored move for Donerko. Basically, Legend got a taste of his own medicine, because Legend did the exact same thing on Donerko a few laps ago when he overtook him down at turn 4, waited for a late lunge and made it stick, but Donerko tried it on him on that occasion, but sadly made contact. Hopefully there's no front wing damage to either car. Both got away with it as he is, but I think it's just hard but fair race. It did get pushed off the track, but he tried to do something different. I'll leave it up to the stewards on that one, because I don't know, it happened so quick. But for the time being, Donerko's in P2. Can start putting pressure on the man in front of him, Rudy, who's done a fantastic job defending from these guys behind. It's so difficult to overtake, especially in the wet conditions. If you thought it was the dry conditions were bad in the DRS train, wet conditions is even worse. LRB says, I was about to say this race has less incidents than race 1 and race 2 than that happens. As Audible Gamer then has overtaken Victor, as Victor stays side by side with him. He has the inside line for the next corner. And Victor, will he stay ahead for the time being? Or will Audible Gamer get a good exit on the outside? He gets put on the curb. And Victor stays ahead for the time being, but does Audible Gamer have more better straight line speed? Will he try it down the inside? It's a bit risky. Yes, it is risky. He's spun. And the Mercedes driver has gone for a spin. Yeah, I saw that one coming from miles away, unfortunately. There's no way you're going to go side by side, especially with a high speed corner like that one. And sadly for Audible Gamer, takes the pain again. Yeah, I don't think Victor did anything wrong there. He was committed to his line. And nothing overtakes Joey for P11. Shane's pulled away from these guys. It's about 1.2 second gap towards him and Nuss. So it looks like Joey is struggling just a little bit in these wet conditions there. So he's completely been passed by Nuss and Shane. But the gap then between Legend and Donerko has extended to 1 second. So it looks like Donerko has pulled away for the time being from Legend. Goes a bit deep into that turn 3 corner. He's under pressure from Julian right behind him, followed by a lot of drivers, including the LP kart racer Jack Humphries, Lewis and OP Firefox. Shane's there as well in P10. Donerko has pulled the gap down between himself and Rudy, so might see a good battle between first and second. Donerko has been in all sorts of squabbles with the McLaren drivers recently, but they've dropped Legend now. Legend is 1.5 seconds behind Donerko, and he's currently under pressure from Julian, so it looks like he hasn't got any pace to respond with, unless there is damage of course on that McLaren. Because when Donerko was behind, looks like Legend was keeping up with Rudy, unless Rudy was giving the slipstream of course to try and make things harder for Donerko to overtake him. CC Brain is right behind Victor for P14, there he is in the AlphaTauri. We'll make our way into Magus and Beckers then. Is CC Brain close to overtake Victor? He was inside the top 10 was CC Brain until he spun under the safety car. You can see both using the ERS to try and stay ahead of each other. And for the time being, CC Brain cannot overtake him. Victor's getting close towards James as well for P13. And look at Victor going for a late lunge, and he pushes the Ferrari off the track. And yeah, that was going to go to the stewards, I dare say. But Victor, what a late lunge that was. Look at that, that was Marcados getting better exit there ahead of CC Brain. Took advantage, but CC Brain was offline. And Marcados, what a move that was from him in the Williams. But Victor being optimistic there, overtaking Joe. You can see him all sliding. Marcador's trying to go around the outside of J-Hub. Not on that occasion, he won't. Oh, that was a bit of lag there from Marcador's point of view, but look at the gap now between Legend and Denerko. 2 seconds is the gap now between second and third. So the top two then have checked out for this race. It's going to be a battle between Denerko and Rudy. Denerko has closed in that advantage that Rudy had, and now the gap is 3/10. It's going to be a ding-dong battle between these two. And Kart Racer then putting the pressure on Fire ahead of him. So it looks like Legend then is the leader of this train. And look at Denerko, he is right behind Rudy then. They're both using the ERS on the straight. And Denerko's too far back to make any move on the McLaren driver. Rudy's looking for a second victory of the season. 2 out of 3 for Rudy. It's looking very good so far from the McLaren driver. Consistently been on the podium in every race he's driven so far. As we make our way onto lap 15 out of 26 then. When is Denerko going to pad his overtake? Will he be close enough to make a move on Rudy? But Legend then sustaining the pressure from Julian behind and the rest of them. Is anybody close enough to make a move on each other? OP Raiki behind CC Brain, they're having their own battle as Arnold Gamer has set the fastest lap with a 39.4. You can see the Victor going a bit wide through turn number 3. But yeah, the main focus then is the gap between the top two, which is Rudy and Denerko. This is going to be a spicy battle between these two. But Denerko's glad he's past Legend. He's dropped him by 2.5 seconds now as the gap continuously increases between the two. Denerko put a lot of pressure on Rudy ahead. Let's see how Rudy manages the pressure. He's got a lot of ERS he can use. It's very easy to save ERS in the wet conditions. But Denerko creeping all over the back of him. Can he get a good exit through Magazine Becker to try and get him on down into Stowe? Let's see then. You can see he tucked him right behind him. He needs a decent exit right behind him. There we go then. Is this going to be enough to try and overtake him into Stowe? The slipstream and the ERS are helping him to try and boost his chances of overtaking him. But here we go then into Stowe. They try to go around the outside. Here we go. Rudy squeezes him off the track there. And Denerko when he try and go down the inside into the next corner. Rudy stays ahead, but he outbrakes himself, does the Dutch driver. And here comes Denerko. Oh, Rudy spun. Has he saved it? Yes, he has saved it. But the problem is he's dropped a lot of positions there. They definitely got the elbows out on that occasion. Who is being more aggressive? Was Denerko being more aggressive? Look at that. If Rudy's got himself in a bit. Oh, he spun. That's Rudy's race over, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not what you want to see, is it? I was hoping to see a good battle between the top two. Last time out, it was Zander taking pain in turn 4 at Austria when Rudy closed the door arguably on him. And this time out, it is Rudy who takes the pain as the door was shut on him. Was it fair racing? I don't know really, that's for the stewards to decide, but yeah, I was hoping to see a really good battle between those two, but the gap's gone down between first and second by 1.1. The gap was 2.5 a lap ago, but Legend has closed this gap down. And that is Rudy's race over. He collected a 10-second time penalty as well, as Marcadors is under massive pressure. There he is, then they're going side by side as we go into cops. We saw what happened last time out. Somebody went side by side into cops, it didn't end well, but Marcadors stays ahead for the time being. I was really hoping to see a good battle between the top two there, McLaren and Mercedes, but they've got a lot of history. They've got a lot of history, those guys. So what can Legend do in P2 then? Can he close this gap down and try and put pressure on Denerko ahead of him? Or did he pick up any front wing damage, or was he just generally struggling in terms of pure pace? Evidently hasn't picked up any front wing damage, but there's going to be a lot of controversy in the chat. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of controversy already stirring up in the chat. Each team has their own opinions, of course, but for me, I'll just stick by the race and just watch it and enjoy it. But Julian then under massive pressure from Kart Racer, who is about 3 tenths behind him. Both having a wobbly exit coming out of turn number 4 there. And for the time being, Julian does stay ahead of Kart Racer. Luca, I agree with you with that one. Good luck to the Stewarts. I can't imagine what it was like last weekend between Xander and Rudy when they came together in turn 4. This time out, what's it going to be like in the Stewards? I hate to be a steward because there's a lot of controversy behind into stewarding. No matter what the outcome is, nobody will agree with the outcomes. That's the pain the stewards have to deal with. Thank God I'm not a steward in any league race whatsoever. I'm just a commentator who just enjoy races. But you can see their Kart Racer all over the back of Julian. Can he try and overtake him into Stowe? Looks like he's got a better grip than the Red Bull driver so far, but he's too far behind to make any sort of push. That's what we keep seeing in this race. They're just too far back, unless they make a mistake, of course. A lot of them wobbling about in corners. And CC Brain then still stuck down there in P14. Can't do anything about it, unfortunately for him. As Donerko does go on to set the fastest lap of the race. Kart Racer tantalising close behind Julian. As we go into turn number 1 and turn 2, looks like they both got the same speed going into those two corners. Looks like Kart Racer just got better grip than the Red Bull driver so far, but will he go down the inside? No, he won't. You can see him taking different lines. Julian does go wide though. It's allowed Kart Racer to go down the inside, but Julian shuts that one. Goes off the track. That might pick himself up a warning. Got to be very careful not to pick up a penalty, especially when you're running in the podium pay positions. You can see Kart Racer constantly putting pressure on the Red Bull ahead of him. Looks like he's got more confidence and grip. But Jack Humphries as well down in P5, following very nicely on the back of the Haas and Red Bull. But unfortunately for Jack, he has got himself a 5 second time penalty. The Red Bull driver Julian's done a good job so far to try and withstand the pressure from Kart Racer, despite being pressurised twice. He's still maintaining P3. It looks like Donerko's got this in the bag because he's pulled that gap up to 1.9 now, so I think from here on in it might be Donerko's race. And Julian stays ahead for the time being, so we've got a straight line speed to try and stay ahead of the Haas. But Kart Racer then, it looks like he's under pressure of Jack Humphries right behind him. So that might release the pressure of Julian just a little bit, as you can see that Jack Humphries in the background is putting pressure on the Haas there. So the Haas is time to think about defending and overtaking here. As we come to lap 19 out of 26 then. Let's see then, can Jack Humphries get a podium, well, be in P3, but he will drop down thanks to penalties. Shows some good pace so far, has the Aston Martin driver. It's all over the back of him, but can't do anything about it. Kart Racer as well, he's all over the back of Julian, but same trouble for Jack, he just can't do anything about it, as the Ferrari driver of Lewis under pressure of OP Firefox. Lewis did a good job for LFR so far. As Jack Humphries, did he ever make a mistake coming out of turn 5 there? I wonder, as we make our way down into Brooklands now. The pressure's got a bit from Kart Racer as he focuses on taking P3 away from Julian. As long as Julian gets good exits, Kart Racer should be still in P4. Main key here is getting good exits out of corner, use that EOS, because if you get good exits, especially out of those slow speed corners, there's no way the guy behind is overtake you, especially in dirty air as well. It's hard enough to apply the throttle in the wet conditions alone, but being in dirty air is another issue as well. Just got to have more grip and confidence coming out of these corners. Let's see that as they both apply the EOS down the straight. Kart Racer, he looks like he's too far back to make any move. He hasn't got the superior straight line speed. He wishes he has, but OP Firefox is right behind Lewis, and Lewis for the time being stays ahead of him, and they're both fighting over P6 for P5 as well, because Jack Humphries' 5 second time penalty, or 3 second time penalty, sorry. They'll both be looking to fight for P5 and further up the grid, but Kart Racer right behind Julian there once again as we make our way onto lap 20 out of 26 then. Julian's going to keep calm to try and keep Kart Racer behind. Pick up no penalties, try and focus on the exits as well. Break early on the entry, try and focus on getting a good exit coming out of the corners. Hoping that he can keep Kart Racer behind. Kart Racer, however, continuously putting pressure on Julian ahead of him. We'll keep on pressurising him until he makes a mistake, of course, and Can Kart Racer try to take P3 away? Jack Humphries, however, in P5 will struggle to try and get a podium because of these two guys ahead, and that 3-second time penalty over his name as well. Where will he finish, Jack Humphries? About 9th or 10th place? I think definitely 9th place. Joey's too far behind to close in on that penalty gap. So Jack Humphries' best chance is P9 or P8. Kart Racer will be very frustrated behind Julian, probably thinking he's got more pace than him, but Julian's done a good job to try to defend from him. The gap between the top two has extended once again as Danerko stretches his advantage towards the gem by 2.5. Is this the part where Kart Racer gets a good exit? Is he going to overtake him down in Stowe? You can see they're both using the battery, but not much difference in speed. The slipstream is helping, but not helping enough. And Kart Racer wishes that the straight was much longer to try to overtake him. Yellow flag, so that is CC Braid, who has gone for a spin. Where's that? That's halfway down the straight. Was he side by side with someone? That's an odd place to drop it. And yeah, I think he's going to... Yeah, unfortunately for him then, he has rejoined all the way down to P17 and take a pit stop as well because he's missing some front wing. That's got to be side by side with somebody because he's dropped halfway down the straight. There should be no issues with aquaplaning. If the game was more realistic, then probably with aquaplaning, but he should be breaking traction once he gets way down there. Or was he weaving to try to defend from somebody? I'm not quite sure, but unfortunately he has spun. Julian did a good job to defend from Kart Racer. Puts up a lot of pressure. Kart Racer's tried different things to try and get past Julian, but unfortunately for him, not working out so far. It looks like Julian's putting the car in the right places at the right time, but 5 laps left to focus. Who's the pony going to belong to? Goes a bit wide as Julian. Kart Racer gets a better exit. I don't think he'll try it down into first part of Maggins and Beckett's. No, he won't. He'll just focus on getting better exits into the Maggins and Beckett's. We go. Trying to place the car in the right places. See if we can try and put Julian under massive pressure by taking different lines. I don't think he'll get him down into Stowe. Too far behind and not enough straight line speed, unfortunately, for Kart Racer to try and make that one move. It's going to be like 2 tenths behind, not even that, just under 2 tenths behind trying to make the move when they get onto the Hanger straight. Will Kart Racer have to dive it into some of these corners like turn 3? That could be an opportunity if it's right behind him into turn 1 and turn 2. He's got that chance to do so if he carries more speed into turn 1 and turn 2, but looks like they're even into turn 1 and turn 2, so he's too far back to try and carry or try and outbrake him into turn 3. Turn 4's another opportunity, but you've got to be right behind your team, well, right behind your opponent before you can make that move. Can't really surprise him because it's not really... It is an opportunity to overtake, but wisely he'll wait on the straight. But Julian has picked up a 3-second time penalty coming out of turn number 5. He'll be kicking himself that one because let's say it's an odd place to pick up a penalty, and Kart Racer then will definitely get 3rd place unless he picks up a penalty. But he's going for the move anyway, but that's too tight there. The door's not fully open, and plus if he made it through there anyway, you'll spin on that curb. Yeah, Julian unfortunately will be kicking himself with that one, I'm sure of it. Quite an odd place to pick up a penalty. But we have seen him go wide before, so it must be an issue in that corner himself, or just a struggle with that corner himself. But Kart Racer then, he doesn't have to risk it anymore. He's a racer, he'll still go for it of course, but doesn't have to take too much risk as you would in terms of Julian not getting the penalty. So I'm not saying I don't think he'll settle into P4. I think he'll still try and make a move for P3 on the track. But it's a clear indication that Julian has been struggling coming out of turn 5, just going wide in general, it seems. In the dry it's quite an odd place, but I think in the wet it's quite common actually to pick up penalties through those parts of the track. We head on to lap 23 out of 26, and the gap between the top 2 has extended to 3 seconds. Marquinhos is right behind Victor for P11. Joey in P10 holding off Victor and Marquinhos. Firefox still putting pressure on the man in head. Well, look at Kart Racer, almost lost it coming out there. That might give Jack Humphries a bit of opportunity to go down the inside into Brooklands. It opens up an advantage, and here he comes then. Jack Humphries going down the inside. No, he doesn't. Can't race out, breaks him, but does he go too wide? He does for the time being, but he stays ahead of Jack Humphries. Heart in mouth moment there for Kart Racing. He did not want to be fighting Jack Humphries just in case the gap between himself and Julian extended a little bit more. But yeah, almost lost it coming out of turn 4 and turn 5. It's allowed Julian to pull away just a little bit. He'll be hoping that Kart Racer picks up a penalty. And Lewis looks like he's dropped Firefox behind him. He was about 3/10 behind him earlier in the lap, but it looks like Lewis has picked up the pace a little bit and he's extended that gap. And Shane then, he's right behind Firefox for P7. You see Firefox got a decent exit on the straight and he'll stay ahead for the time being. Let's look at Marquinhos and Victor, shall we? He's right behind the Haas driver as we go onto the Hanger straight. Here he goes there, they go side by side as we make our way into Stowe. And Victor brakes later, but does Marquinhos do a switch back and he gets a better exit coming out? Oh, he almost lost it there. And sadly he couldn't get a better exit than Victor, and he stays behind in P12 for the time being ahead of Joey. Joey fights it over the top 10, but Marquinhos has just hit Victor as they both go into the final corner. You don't want to be doing that. That's like an Alex Albon and Kevin Magnussen moment where Magnussen crashed coming out of that corner with Alex Albon hit the back of him, or the side of him, must be said. But Victor stays ahead, but Marquinhos goes down the inside there. Both making contact, but as we go into turn number 3, 4, Victor stays ahead for the time being, and Marquinhos both sliding through the corners. And look at that, Victor sliding ever so more, and he goes off the track, and here comes Victor, here comes Marquinhos and Victor. You can see Kart Racer is right behind Julian once again as Marquinhos gets past him. And Victor, when he try to go back down the inside into Luffield we go. We'll try and stick his wheel in to show him he's there. You can see the understeer is picking up, and looks like Marquinhos then has finally overtaken Victor for P11. Yeah, LRB, he mentioned that battles for the fastest lap is between Rudy and who's just set the fastest lap so far. Fastest lap goes to Danerka. Wow, on the old 23 lap tyres he's just set the fastest lap of the race. I saw Rudy setting fastest laps and Danerka's just pipped it off him. Jack Humphries then is right behind Kart Racer, looking to try and get past him, and Victor stays behind for the time being. But back to the battle between Julian, Kart Racer and Jack Humphries. We go on to lap 25 out of 26, one more lap left in this Grand Prix. Firefox has closed that gap down towards Lewis. The gap is now 2/10 between the two. Firefox has been trying to make the move on Lewis for quite a long time now. Is this his opportunity to try and go down the inside? No, he's too far back unless Lewis outbreaks himself, which he doesn't do. But Firefox will desperately try and get past Lewis. Victor right at the back of Marquinhos once again. Those two are having a scrap for P11. As we go to the straight, Lewis has dropped Firefox once again. As long as Lewis can get good exits coming out of those corners, Firefox will remain in P7. Firefox seems like he can close the gap down, but unfortunately can't get to the exits to support it, as Rudy takes back the fastest lap of the race at 38.3. It's the fastest lap so far. Danerka though, what a race it's been for him. He was in third at one point behind both McLarens, but got past Legend in a hurry to try and fight Rudy. And yeah, there's a lot of controversy which is going to go in there, but CC Brain has set the fastest lap, which is 38.0. Can anybody beat that, I wonder? Danerka, he's about almost a tenth up on his previous best. Can he take back the fastest lap on old tyres, 24 lap old tyres? It should be in good conditions, those wet tyres, but as we make our way towards the line, there's a 38.4, so he's 4/10 off. Can he find those 4/10 to the final lap of the race? Kart Racer though, still behind Julian for P3. OP Firefox is still behind Lewis. He's currently the pressure from Shane behind him. But the battles for the fastest laps intensifies between Rudy, CC Brain and Danerka. Last lap of the race then. Kart Racer will finish in P3 unless he doesn't pick up any penalties, of course. I'll be happy with P3. Might not got it on the track, but it's been some defending from Julian, it must be said. He may have picked up a 3-second time penalty, but he's defended well against Kart Racer. OP Firefox though, still putting pressure on Lewis, but it must be said from Lewis's point of view, he's done a fantastic job of defending from Firefox ahead of him, or behind him, sorry. But Jack Humphrey's got a penalty, the gap is 2.6, and I think Lewis will take away P5 if he stays under that 3-second gap. As we make our way into Cops then, Lewis still has the advantage over Firefox. Denurko's middle sector, what's that like? He's 1100s down and he's using all of the EOS. I don't think he'll set the fastest lap, but I think he can definitely improve on his previous best as Victor picks up a 3-second time penalty, putting pressure on Marcos right ahead of him. But I think that's it for the time being. I don't think there's going to be any more moves unless Jack Humphries can go for it. Into Stowe we go, he's right behind him, but can he make a move into the final corner? Will he do it? Come on Jack, do something. No, he won't, he stays behind for the time being, but Denurko wins the Grand Prix ahead of Legend in P2. Julian will come across the line to finish in P4, I believe. Kart Racer will finish in P3, with Jack Humphries in P5. Lewis will take P5 away from Jack. OP Firefox in P7, Nothing P8, Shane in P9. Joey has a whole chain of cars behind him. He'll finish in P10. Ahead of Marcos and Victor, who spins and loses front wing. OP Raki finishes in P14. And Audible Gamer finishes at P15 ahead of JM. And here comes Rudy then. Has he got any more in the tank to set the fastest lap of this race? Fastest lap goes towards CC Brain, but Rudy just picked himself off the 3-second time penalty. Can he take the fastest lap away from CC Brain? Let's have a look then, shall we? As we make our way towards the line, what's this lap time going to be? It's going to be a 37. No, he hasn't. He hasn't taken the fastest lap, so that fastest lap then will go towards CC Brain. I'll be very happy with that one. Well, not very happy because it's P19 obviously, but both avatars and the P19 and P20 unfortunately didn't go their way. CC Brain spawned on the safety car that his teammate caused, and unfortunately it's been downfall from there. But yeah, Rudy's podium runs have come to an end. He finished second in the first race, first in the second race, and his other podiums are over. Denurko, what a victory from him. Did well to fight both McLarens, especially Rudy there. I thought Denurko was going to be stuck behind both McLarens because I thought they were going to work with each other to try and stay ahead of Denurko, but he did a fantastic job going back down the inside into turn 4 ahead of Legend. And what a good victory that was from Denurko. He'll be very happy, especially with TF10 as well. TF10 desperately needs some points on the board. They're currently 8th in the championship. Legend in P2, Kart Racer from P10 on the grid, finishes at P3. What a race that was from the Hash driver. Julian in P4 with Lewis in P5. Jack Humphries in P6 with OP Firefox in P8. Nothing P8 ahead of Shade. Joey in P10 ahead of Fabai. Marcos in P12 ahead of OP Raki. And Victor P14 ahead of Audible Gamer P15. Jay in P16 with Rudy P17, Harbour P18, CC Brain P19. And both avatars then, unfortunately, 19th and 20th. Hope you all enjoyed this race, and we've got more action coming tomorrow with Formula Sim series. And hopefully we'll see you there for tomorrow's race as well, because if you want to join Formula Series Tier 1, no assists. I'll have a look what the calendar is for you, because I always forget. And it is the Austrian Grand Prix for round number 5 of the Formula Sim Series Championship then. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. I know Shazoo Tom will be there for sure. And Jack Humphries. But that's it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed this race. It's the wet conditions. And hopefully you'll have a good night. And I think I'll see some of you next week. And hopefully it'll be good Miami Grand Prix as well. So yep, it is round number 3 is done. USA Grand Prix next week for the championship, and I think it is over, so I'll see you all later. Have a good night.